I just recently met my next guest. I have the amazing opportunity to help his 8-year-old. And when I heard his story, I thought I need to interview him. So it took a couple of times, and I was so grateful that Malibu Daos agreed to be interviewed. He's here to be vulnerable. He's here to share what I think a lot of us ponder, but we don't really take the time to really think about it. So he was born in Kanagawa, Japan. So we share that the Japanese connection. Came to Hawaii after his father retired from the military. My father was also in the military. He was raised in Waimanalo and graduated from Kailua High School. So he shares that he was on his own since he was 16 after his parents divorced. And after high school, he raced motorcycles around the world, but he shares how he was kicked off the team due to insecurities and immaturity to handle the pressure. He currently is the father of three, age 8, 12, and 15. He had a career in banking and finance, but found that boring and depressing. Then he accidentally, I want to hear his career involvement, got into home design and then clothing design. And then he just recently shared and I think it's a career that's meant for you, is to touch lives of children as an educator. So please share, how do you, I mean, I just love what you shared prior to recording, that your life lessons and maybe how you came into this realization, because you share pretty deep things. I mean,
Well, it just had to be a lot of past things. So a lot of things that happened to me, a lot of bad things happened when I was young, and or I even looked at it that way because I thought, you know, a kid growing up in the '70s, thinking like that was kind of like the rebellious days. There was like,
yes.
with, and that was a you know, of I guess in that and growing up in the '80s, that was like the era of being rebellious, heavy metal days
Yes.
because of music, right? But I think I believe that the way how we behave and the way how we are is going to attract that kind of thing. It's kind of like a law of attraction, I guess, because you look at it. Oh, why these things happening to me? Why these bad things happening? This and this and that. Of course, a lot of bad things gonna happen. So I always looked at things were happening bad to me, like how my father was treating me and raising me. I think, why is this man so mean to me? Why is this man is always yelling at me? Am I this kind of person? I must just act this kind of type of person.
Hmm.
And so, but I realized that in the kind of generation he was in, it was about survival. It was about being hard on your kid, because the only way to be hard on this kid, and plus being a military man, they're gonna be hard on them, and he will survive.
Hmm.
But work hard, make good money, and get a good job. And that's how I grew up. But I think that's when I got really it was harsh for at that time when I was young. So when when my parents got divorced, my older brother and older sister, they're much older than me. So they already moved out. They got married, and I was the only one left. So when my father uh my father and mother got divorced, my mom moved out to New York, and my dad stayed here. But my dad also had a girlfriend. So this is how I ended up being on my own. I was supposed to move out to New York, but me, a little island boy, I like the island and I like the outdoor. Why would I go to New York? I don't know anything about New York, right? I only see bad things actually on the movie of New York. It's just I can't live like that. I'm gonna be more angry. Gonna be more frustrated. So, so the thing is that everything that happened in the past was always a lesson for me. So I don't regret anything I've been through, because I look at it when I was actually when I was on my own. I mean, of course, I got depressed, and later on, it's just that because I had this talent of anything with two wheels,
Mm.
I was, how it all kind of started, this thing where I thought, oh, okay, this is what I'm gonna be. I want to be this guy, and maybe people will look at me differently and respect me, and if I can be good on this thing with anything at two wheels. it just so happened that I was riding BMX and motocross, and then but MotoGP. Um, I guess at that point because I had no fear when you're a child with just so much depression and anger that you don't care if you die or get hurt because you just live in that thing. But
Hmm.
and I didn't, I look at it this where of course we're living conscious, right? But what I realized later on that we're a we're not a human being with conscience. We're a conscious in the human form.
Mm.
Okay, so back then I didn't really have much of a conscience. I just did whatever. And but when I was racing around the motorcycles, I was going from one country for a different country and competing. But at time within about the first year, with all this, the sponsors and the business side of it, it wasn't fun anymore. I
Mm.
just felt depression. I was very young. And the thing is that um, it was just simple. They just says um, they gave you a plane ticket and he says you're going back home. This is wow. That was short lived. I thought was going to be a great life career thing change, but I came back in the island and I didn't know what to do. I was on my, just kind of being on my own. I was like, um, I didn't. I was like so lost. I mean, I tried to live with my sister and a boyfriend that didn't work out.
And how old
I
were you
tried
around
to,
this time?
I was about like 19.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I was on my own 16, I was actually homeless my senior year. But my friends took me in after that. But at 19, I didn't know what I was going to do anymore because it was a very short life career. It was like 18, sometimes 19 years old. I was young. I was immature. Um, so I'm thinking, what I'm going to do? I don't know what to do.
Hmm.
So, but thank you to my sister. My sister was like my second mother. She really took care of me, and she was watched. I think, but I couldn't live with them because they were living in a house with other people, so it's too crowded. So I was really depressed, and I was actually I took up a job as like a bus boy and this and that. And then I just figure, okay, what my dad said, study hard, get a good job. So I'm thinking, well, okay, let's do that. See, that works out right. Then, of course, I want to go back to school for that, and then I ended up with a couple of banks and and then I'm in an audit company. But we're just sitting at this desk and I'm just like, oh my gosh, is this what life is about? But I was again depressed again. I was so depressed. I was just so depressed. So depressed that um, that attempt a suicide. I think that's when I was in my apartment and I had a roommate at the time. I was still young, and I just said, what's the purpose of my life? I didn't know what my existence is. My life is about waking up, going to work, pay bills. Is that what life is about? Is that what life is? And I look around all my coworkers, and the only time they feel alive is when they're going out drinking after or something. And I said, this got to be more than to this. What is my life going to be like when I'm 40 or when I'm 50? Am I still going to be doing this? And I don't want to. And I got so we're to a point where I was being something that I wasn't comfortable with.
Hmm.
But I did it because it was a paying job. And it was like a suit and tie job, well, lower shirt. But the thing is, I was being dressed as I was being dressed like I felt like I was being cloned of downtown Chinatown, all the business people, and they just didn't look happy. I wasn't happy, and I sat in my apartment. Had my I remember roommate, and then he went out, and then I took a gun and then I put a bullet in the chamber, and I was just like, I can't live like this. So, but knowing me, thank goodness that I don't know anything about guns. So this was an embarrassing thing. So he had this gun, which I later learned was actually a Colt 45. There's a safety in this part of the gun that you have to press that to pull the trigger. So when I turned it backwards, and I was holding like this, but I wasn't holding the safety in the back of the gun. So I don't know anything about guns. I just know how to put the bullet in there, and I saw in the movies that they do that. So, and then and I was trying to pull the trigger, and I wasn't pulling the trigger hard enough. And then just moments later, there's a knock on the door, and I'm like crying, and then I go to the door, and it was my friend Alden. My friend Alden says, "Hey, that's come to church with me. I got to show you something. This is cool." It's like church and God thing. And then when so I went to church, but it was just a funny thing that day that I felt like the pastor was talking personally to me, because what he was talking was very related to that. So I looked at it like a lot of things happen for a reason,
Hmm.
a lot of reason, and I look at it that so much bad things happen, right? And I said I was only seeing life like that. And then as long and then it would time, and then I slipped right back when I was fine going through the God thing and the Christianity path, but for some reason I didn't really know how it happened, but I slipped back into a depression mode again. And then I tried suicide again. So here I am. This is actually now in California, so I was riding my motorcycle around California with some friends, and I just saying that my life is not really happening, going anywhere. I'm still stuck. I feel I feel like trapped or something like that. So, and I have bad relationships too in the past too, right? So, and then so I rose, and so this is the second attempt of suicide where I rode my motorcycle along the bay, uh, extremely fast, and I was just saying I'm just gonna keep going and push my limits. If I crash, I crash, and I did crash, and I kind of slid off the hill, like broke, and I'm sitting on the side of the hill, and I had a broken arm. And I looked up in the, look in the sky. I said, damn it, I'm alive still. So I'm thinking, why am I alive? I shouldn't be dead, right? And then I had a broken arm, and I was healing it, and just kind of like I just stared. I just stared pretty much. I saw the sunrise come up. I saw the sunrise come up, and then I think when you're quiet, when you're very quiet, and you don't hear anything, that's when you think. I think that's a lot of things start to filter going through your head, and that's just okay. And like had my talk with God. Says, I guess you don't want me dead yet. What's the deal, man? You gotta tell me, because this is kind of getting frustrating. And then I think when a lot of those thoughts was going through my head, and then the sun came down, and then I says, okay, I better get out of here because I'm getting cold. It's getting dark. So there's no really cars eating around that comes past through this. So I walked nearly. My guess is, I guess I walked nearly 8 miles until somebody noticed that I had a broken arm. I got that,
Wow.
and
You had quite a long day.
it was a long day because I didn't want to move. The only thing that was broken was my arm. And the thing is that, but I think I was holding, and then they realized that I'm just walking, and this guy was like, "How come you asked?" But after that, does, and then as I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna have to start changing my life. So to figure out all these things, what was going on, and I started to understand how the, the universe works, how our mind works. So I started thinking to myself, what if I thought this way? What would happen? Because a lot of people say you gotta just think positive thoughts, positive thoughts. But that's pretty hard when
Well, it
you're.
is because your default is already that
It's already
negative
there. I
tendency.
grew
Yeah.
up with that. Yeah, I grew up with that. So through I think like life lessons, like how can I put it this way, you know like everything in life happens for a reason. And when I had to look at this, and this is all the thoughts was coming through when I was just lying beside of that hill. Everything happens for a reason, and when life is really hard, and you think only bad things happen. But I now understood for myself, it wasn't because only bad things happened to me. I think it was just, you know, God, the universe, or life just nudging you in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When your child actually start to grab and get touchy touchy, you just push them
Mm-hmm.
away and put them away.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they start touching because they're gonna get hurt, and then they get hurt, but you pick them up and you put them away. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's how I looked at life when I was a father, and then I looked at it that way. That it's just life nudging you. It's not
Mm-hmm.
because you're having a bad life. It's like it's just literally pushing you, nudging you, and just pushing. And like I said, everything happened for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. Like say butterflies are. We have no understanding why butterflies there are butterflies. I don't know what they do. I know what bees do, but
Mm-hmm.
everything has its reasons. But we're all part of this play,
Mm-hmm.
this whole play to send a message to the next generation, and then they do their thing and they do their thing because life is not about just working and paying bills. That's not what it is. And I like I said, when I accept that I'm already am complete, my life is complete no matter what part of your life. Once I accept that, you know because I can't add any more things that I add things. When I start to add more things or try to do this and try to do that, I'm just gonna get myself confused, and I'm gonna start ending up being somebody else that
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. Like you what like they said, like for me to grow, I do very simple things to keep my mind sharp and to keep myself entertained and to grow. And my kids don't understand this, and it's a funny thing, but once I figure like, okay, I'm kind of like know how to do some certain things with my hands. And so I picked up this thing, this yo-yo. I'm learning how to do a yo-yo.
Ooh,
But
I heard that's
I
really good for the brain. I mean, you're.
it is because you have to do this. So I'm actually learning how to undo the yo-yo. My friends said, "Dad, what are you playing with a yo-yo?" So I'm doing this out of curiosity so I can grow in other things. So, but like again, you can't add more things to you. You just have to accept. I just have to accept that I'm already incomplete. I'm just playing, and now once I am complete, that I'm just part of this play, that I have to play this. I play this role that's my role, that's meant for me, and to accept the world is an us and not an I. That we all have to play our own roles, and then we have a message to send to the next generation.
So, what do you think your
So
children, is that a lesson that is important
yeah,
for you to pass on?
that's something that they will have to. That's why I allow them to be who they are. I like for education. I mean, I'm all for education and stuff, but that's why I tell them that math, reading and writing especially is essential.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to understand. My oldest son gets it, but I I look at logic. Logic will get you from A to Z, but creativity will get you everywhere, and that's why I can see it, because reading and writing is a way of expressing your thoughts. You can create and jot down your thoughts. That's why I encourage my kids to get a diary.
So, are they
So
open to it? Are they
it's
open
on
or are they?
mobile right now. My son was trying to do, and then the more important things, and like um, I mean, there is things where I've done for myself, and it helped out a lot for myself to reflect on what was going through, where my life. So pretty much a lot of things in my diaries and my journal was pretty much like I guess like a blueprint or a map,
Mm-hmm.
but in my private thoughts, and to open up more ideas and be creative about ideas of what I'm gonna do to send this thought or message to the next generation. I mean, like again, you know, hearing things is just an opinion, and seeing things is just a perception. So it really is up to the kids, the next generation, how they'll take it. It's just what I'm going through. Like I try to encourage my kids, because this is what I've been through. It's what you just gotta. I like to see the whole big picture.
Mm-hmm.
And there, of course, different type people who see the big picture, and there's people who see very detailed people.
Yes.
Very detailed people, but they miss out a lot what's going on. So, like I said, it's just my opinion. If we accept that we in the world of us, then then things will evolve. But there are a lot of people who are just like, they're about themselves. Let me I prove that to my wife. I tell my wife, you see, we live in a world of I and the world of us. Because I said, and then she goes, we have to be, of course, as I. But that's not true. And she goes, yeah, it is. I said, when you look at a photograph, who do you look at first?
Oh, that's
Yourself.
a good one. That is a good one. And then you
And,
you judge the photo whether it's good or bad based on,
yeah,
no, no.
right.
And my friend's like, I
Yeah.
need to approve the picture. It's a group photo, but wait,
Yeah.
right?
That's how the world we live in. But the thing is, that's why people, once you care about too much people, what they think of you, we're gonna fall into depression, and we're gonna fall into that where, you know, this is what I wish that people can understand. I think that's why I like to be called, be a good team player, because
Mm,
I like to be having us. If I'm gonna rise, I'm not gonna want to rise until everybody rises like above. That's, I mean, I guess that's why when I was working as a manager at a retail store, um, you know, I rise everybody. I gave them creative ways to build, how we're gonna build the store and all that stuff like that. And and we rose above, and we was like number one for a long time. So, like, again, like, when I want to encourage my kids, because this worked for me and for past experience, I have to look at that, you know, I guess with this, I gotta put,
how do
I
you
forgot.
help your children like rise, or how do you are you
Oh yeah, well, how to arise is like one. Every day I want them to be a good human being.
mm,
Just be a good human being, and always be kind. Always be kind, and it's just years ago people will actually be mean to you and say bad things to you, but just still be kind. The best revenge on the enemy is not to be your
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
enemy. And rather, and I always tell them, rather being a person of success, I says I'd rather than be a person of value.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because to me, I thought myself like successful, and my friend who's not, he doesn't have a lot of much money, but I see how happy he is. He accepts what things are. He's just having a great life, and I see that success.
Mm-hmm.
Success is not measured by money or what you have. And then the other thing is like, then like I said, I always tell them, like said this earlier before, I always remind them, logic will get you from A to Z, but I want them to be creative, because when you're creative, you can just keep this limitless. What
Mm-hmm.
you can limitless. Once you create, that's why I have my son to continue with his ukulele, his music, and my daughter with her art. She's an amazing artist. My youngest Skylar, he's still figuring that out. Basically, he'll figure out something. And then I tell him that with the measure of intelligence,
Mm-hmm.
I look at this. The measure of intelligence is really your ability to change. Okay, because really, if you don't have much intelligence, if you don't have the skills of reading or writing, or
Mm-hmm.
some basic math, or to knowledge of history, you can't change. You know, and then that's how I look at it. It's like the higher intelligence is not mean you're better or smarter than anyone. It's just that because you understand the the purpose of this material that you read, and understand it, and things that you couldn't apply, but there's things you can apply, but you have that um, ability to really change what you
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
feels right. And I was telling my kids, like, everybody's different. There's no two humans in the world are the same exact. I says that this might be a person who think being bad is being part of solution in this world, which is true. There's a yin and yang, there's a bright and good.
Mm-hmm,
You know,
mm-hmm.
there's reasons why. Like a friend of mine, he is actually he likes doing criminal stuff. I don't hang around him, but he likes, it's just part of him.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a purpose why he does that, because then there's no purpose of having police chasing him, or he's on profile with them. There's always something,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
flip side. But I saying that, and I always tell, but the only way, if you understand what of the spectrum you fall on, or what side of the world you fall on, the good or the bad or this. Some people look at bad, some people look at good, because people who look at doing bad things, they think it's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's contributing to what, to society. But like again, like I said, that I'm not a human being with conscience. I'm a conscious in the shape of a human.
Mm.
So if I look at it where um if we if it doesn't if it doesn't if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. you know if it's not the truth, don't say it. That's your conscience talking.
Yes.
So it will be different for someone who is like a criminal. He says, if I don't steal it, that'll be wrong. If I steal it, that feels right. Of course, that's him.
Their perception, right?
It's a perception. Like I said, like what you hear is an opinion, and what you see is a perception. But your conscience is actually your conscience, like, you can't lie to you.
Mm-hmm.
It really depends. Everybody can't be this great squeaky clean human being,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
but there's a balance of everything, and that's why I believe everything happens for a reason. And I always want to encourage my kids to do things, to listen to the conscious, you know, to understand the inner dialogue. Because Alexa said that this is one thing I learned growing up. A lot of times, and we all guilty of it. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not good enough. I'm not
Yes.
smart enough. But it's just something that we heard as we growing up. I got bullied a lot because I was an introverted kid. And then later on, believe it or not, I became a bully. I started bullying people. I wasn't bullying the weak kids or the wimpy kids. I was bullying bullies. I
Oh.
was getting get beat up. I just wasn't gonna stand for it. It's just it
But
was
you
all
had a
part.
purpose. Yeah, it's kind of,
Yeah,
yeah,
on
you had a
purpose with my
purpose.
personality. I was like stood up what I believe in. It was just part of my personality. It was a part of my personality. Like I tell my kids, just stick who you are. Never change for who you are. If you want so badly to someone to like you, I think you would rather be around the people who likes you for who you are.
Yes.
And this is why I won't allow them to have any Instagram, because I always tell them tell them. I mean, Instagram is fine. It's really up to what people, if they have Instagram or not. But it's just that when I was on Instagram and I quit some time ago, because I started to think to myself, there's the truth and there's Instagram.
That is true. Well, and then the thing is, when you look at Instagram, a lot of times you compare, and then they say that a lot of the teenagers, their mental health is affected because they
It is.
believe they should, and they said for girls, it's all these filters because they think that they should look that way without the filter, or it's, we never really had social media. I don't know what would have happened in the
That's what she's been
80s
knocking on the
or,
door and hanging out with friends, right?
yeah, and then wait a minute, you don't look like
They
but
call
it's the
household.
pressure. Yeah, but the pressure of being enough and then questioning whether you are enough based on what you see is
Yeah.
basically, but whether it's movies, whether it's friends sharing, it's that. I would like to know, how did you accidentally get into, like home design, clothing design, and education from the motorcycle career? They're so
So,
vast in, difference.
well, I'll get to brief how I got to that point was one for the banking thing. Well,
Oh yeah, you
friends of
did
mine
banking, right?
banking, and then I got into some retail, and then I want to really get into the design. I really want to get design thing, and I thought it was like I was an artist, because I always knew things about color, when things fit,
Mm.
size. I was kind of like I was good at that. I used to make a lot of things with out of cardboard and crafts and stuff like that. And it's kind of harsh doing that when you're young because my dad thought, oh, that is so gay. That
Yeah.
is so
A
that's
lot
so
of
much like a
judgment.
girl. Yeah, but I mean, technically in that time, it's like that's what girls do. But it's just something that was kind of good. So where I got to with the fashion thing, because I always has dressed this way, but I mean, I never overdone it. I've always kind of a person who was with colors.
Mm.
So and I started to want to design my own kind of type of clothes because I have a weird body. I have like a very stocky stuff, so I want to make myself uh, uh, different. Or, but again, that's looking okay. I'm not being true to myself. So
Mm.
I wanted the different colors and putting things together in clothing. So, but what happened where I was helping out with a friend. A friend of mine was had this dating company, and she would set up these guys who were looking for love and stuff like that. She was a Japanese girl, but she had like Japanese friends or Japanese girls because they come into Hawaii.
Mm.
And but the thing, these guys actually Hawaii or guys who just want to be set with girls. But I look at it where I would have to dress them up. So kind of like dress them, but I always kind of kept it um, where they're comfortable.
Mm-hmm,
I'm
mm-hmm.
not gonna dress a 50-year-old man like a 20-year-old
Yeah.
guy. It's like that looks so wrong. So, but I use very simple clothing like bomber jackets with a t-shirt, collar shirt, chino pants, and that kind of stuff. And they kind of go into where the fashion thing was just. So I looked at it this way because I learned this from Tony Robbins. The motion controls your emotion. Your emotion controls
Mm.
your emotion
Yeah.
because it's impossible to be depressed if you don't. You can be depressed, very depressed in pajama, and not move
Mm-hmm.
around a whole lot in the house. So I think that's where I kind of got started and interested in it, is because what if you just dress differently? You don't have to dress like super nice.
Mm-hmm.
But trying to dress, you feel comfortable. Be who you are, and just be comfortable, but and then move differently.
Mm-hmm.
That would change your emotions like that, and that
Yeah.
did work. It does work. So I started doing that with guys. So when these guys actually look, oh wow, they look great. I helping this 40-something-year-old guy, and he wanted to date this 30-something-year-old girl, but he said, I don't want you to look like a guy who's just kind of like really trying too hard. So I'm gonna make
Yeah.
you look like a gentleman, okay? And I said, I'll put you, and then I'll set these clothes up so you can change them a lot, interchange them. They'll be, very can mix it around. You don't have to buy a whole lot of clothes. You're gonna have this two types of jackets, this type of shirts, and 4 pairs of pants, and this kind of colors and shoes and stuff. So I'll fix it up. So how that happened, that turned out really well. Then I was kind of doing home. Then we're the home design thing. My friend says, asked me, it says, "You're good at this craft things, right? Can you like on my daughter's birthday party stuff like that, right?" So I said, "Yeah, okay." I guess she says, "I don't know. I'm gonna do this kind of thing, this under the sea kind of thing, or kind of like a mermaid thing, with the because it was like a Little Mermaid kind of thing." And
Mm-hmm.
she says, I don't want it to like look too. And then I had to think about how I'm gonna make this place look like kind of kitty.
Mm-hmm.
So I created some ways of actually doing like you know like a coral. I just got a foam and I got all kind of ocean little thing and I just plugged it in. I made a centerpiece with like a coral, and
Wow.
then and I stuck a and the balloon stuck it in the middle of it, and the string goes up and the balloon, and then I got tissue paper, and I kind of strung it from the balloon and like a jellyfish
Wow.
floating. So, and then the color scheme and putting kind of the all the different kind of colors inside there, and then my friend she goes, "Oh my god!" She got into tears. She goes, and then her husband goes, "You see, gay."
Isn't it
And
sad that people judge the talent based on
they judge,
gender?
but
Yeah, yeah.
I wasn't offended. I wasn't offended. But I said, I'm not gay. Very straight. And I told the husband, no, I'm not gay. Yes, I know, because look at that. That is like, he says, that is amazing. So she started to refer me to friends and stuff like that, and then how the home thing got started.
Yeah.
So a company was doing luxury home items, and they want to bring it into this country because it's actually from Italy. So the company wanted to do this, and so they didn't represent it. So somebody come talk, and then I had to work with some interior designers, some interior design. So I'm not an interior designer. So the thing is that some interior designers, but and I how I kind of first started where I just kind of did this little small space, but I made it look big.
That's a
You know,
talent.
yeah, kind of like how I kind of got started and stuff. And then and then and the well, how I put things, how I put things, and I was only doing it for the purpose of photograph.
Mm-hmm.
But the interior designer liked me around, so she just kind of kept me around, and then the home design thing. Then she gave me some projects because those projects were, you know, I wish I could do it at my house because in my house, where when I did our house and then had kids and it just got completely destroyed. So I haven't figured that out. I'm gonna figure that out someday where I can design a house where kids make a mess that still look great.
I think your house
I
is beautiful. Yeah. I see it.
but I can't. I can't. I was like, I just kept covering up things. I just didn't want to buy more furniture. But I will figure it out someday. But that's how the home thing is kind of started. And then, but the lockdown happened and we could move in a
Mm.
lot of people's homes. And then how this substitute teacher came about because I was pretty much a full time dad at home and a full time teacher at home because my youngest didn't even get to go to school yet. He don't know what
That's
school's
right.
like. He doesn't know what school's like. So I wanted to make it fun for him. So he did the teacher thing, and when the teacher said, okay, in the break, and I would pretend like I had a bell with Skylar, a bell because it's a bell, and we have a playground in the backyard. It's like you go play. I had to watch him like a monitor. He can go play, and then I ring the bell, and then ring the bell at lunchtime, and I had my daughter's cash register and I pretend like I was
Oh
actually,
my
and I
gosh.
had the food. I had the food, and I had to put the food, and he had to go down the counter, and he was like, "You have to pay me. You gotta give me a card." he goes, he gave me his card, and I left for a card, and the got stuff. So I was like doing the school thing because I wanted to prepare him when he goes back
Wow,
to
you
school.
went beyond just doing a
So
little academic assistance. You created a reality.
and then sit down with him and doing homework, doing homework. Hang on, sorry. Doing homework and with him and sitting down and but this is where I called you in because I had the point where he's getting older. I didn't know even how to really the math thing. I didn't know how he can keep because okay, why is it taking so much long? So the substitute thing is because I guess I got so involved where my daughter was diagnosed with dyslexia at first grade, and not diagnosed actually. A teacher just recognized it, but I couldn't, and then I noticed it, and then but the school wasn't giving her the special teachings
Hmm.
throughout the beginning of the third grade. I mean, I was getting frustrated, and she's why she's doing this. And then I took it upon myself to okay, I'm gonna take her to I called her on. I've been calling and all over. So what do I do? I don't know what to do. My daughter's gonna be this, and my daughter's getting made fun of as because she reads like that. So it's like so. I got her psychologist thing, and then the school started doing. Then I started to get that's why you have the IEP. This is why you have this and all that kind of stuff. Kind of actually really understood in that because I was a working father. But the thing is, then I started realizing that being a stay-at-home dad again, like life is nudging me again,
Hmm.
and being a stay-at-home dad, I think I found myself like, yes, I understand it's not easy. But the thing is that I kind of know what more of my purpose is.
Hmm.
And then, like I said, there things happen for a little reason. And I didn't have technically a job. And my works as a librarian at the elementary school. And she says, we're looking for PTTs, EAs, and stuff like that. So you want to come for, they want to actually company calls, company come back and call you. Yeah, I guess so. I went there, and then I started working with these little kids, and and then I never even realized that I was making such an impact. It's just that because I see so much of myself in so many of these kids, what they're going through, the things that they're saying, and how their behaviors is. Oh my gosh, that is me. I couldn't see that in my kids because I was raising my kids
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
in this way, in this bubble, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but when I'm seeing that, and then I started to be a reason, like, and of course I started working with getting my dad's skills. All my dad's skills came from what my dad teaching was not what not to
Yeah.
do. So, um, but and with my with these kids, and I started talking with the kids, and then I reached out to some kids. Kids are started changing around. Some kids who were actually bullied. Some kids were bullying other kids, and just kind of getting that thought in their head. And I asked the questions: "Is what do you get? Why do you have to get good grades so I can get a good job?" Wow, okay, that's what someone told you that. Come on, that cycle kept going,
Yes.
and that's kind of that. I mean, it's like, wow. I says, okay, why do you have to follow these rules and guidelines? Um, so we don't get in trouble. Wow, this is how these kids think. And that's how I thought when we were kids too, of course. And then so when I started opening up their minds about education and what they can do, and then things are changing around, and then uh, a teacher, or and then I was I don't know what you said to them, but I don't know what's going on. They're changing. I was like, kind of, what do you mean? What I said? I'm sorry. Am I going to get fired? I guess no. It's like I guess it's like I was so worried, right? And then this is no. They changed around because what I told this kid, I says he was telling me, oh, my dad's in jail. My mom works 2 jobs and stuff like that. My grandma really raised me and stuff like that, whatever. And I says, oh, okay. And then I had this talk with him. I says, yeah, this is English and writing and basic math skills and history and social science, that kind of play. And I told him, it's like the better your intelligence,
Mm-hmm.
the ability to change and you to have an impact on the world and people. And
Ooh.
the next generation is going to thank you for
Wow.
you. And I told him as saying that I want you now that from now on to want to learn, and I want to learn you no matter how frustrating it gets, because when it gets frustrating and you make it, you're growing and you're getting stronger. Because when you get a strong mind, everything else will follow. I say first of all, you know, just walk differently. Start being kind to the kids. Start talking to kids like that. Okay, you feel good when you talk to kids like that. Says, oh no, I don't. So why do it? So I kind of taught when to kind of have this thought in his head that get a, train yourself, train yourself, get it. If you don't know a question, if you don't know the answer, ask a question. Don't It's not a
Mm-hmm.
stupid question. Ask a question, because I saying that um, you can for you the ability to change, you can actually encourage and um, you know people, you inspire people to change.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what they've been doing. I said this is what they're doing for generations. This is the future is in your kids' hands. But when is that really going to happen? It
That is
starts with
true.
it says this, it starts with you and you to inspire others. And because when you guys work together, everything works in a ripple effect and becomes waves.
Wow, that's empowering.
Yeah. So I want him to start thinking that. And I told him, I want you to start doing it for you, nobody else, not for me, what I told you, not for your mom, not for your grandma, not before your teachers. Do it for you, because you will have a story to tell kids what you have to tell. Because this is your story, you have the power, and you're the author of it. You know how it's going to go. But you know what? There's never going to be an ending, because the next generation is going to carry on that chapter what you started. and he was looking at that, and then and some other kids kind of like was listening on to it, and it was really kind of it was really kind of mind boggling. I see all the kids like staring on the ground, just like it's like, ooh, I must have I might have struck a chord. And kids, they're staring at the ground, but
They're
and
thinking.
then,
It's kind of like when you were watching the sunset and then, the
yeah,
sunrise, and you have that almost like that enlightening moment.
I guess that they really thought about that. It's just like I never looked at it that way. And then when recess came, it was like such a great thing where these kids didn't. A lot of them just want to run out to the field and go play, but a lot of
Uh-huh.
them, there are a few of them that actually stuck around and asked questions. That's what it's like.
Wow.
And I really were asking a lot of questions, and it's just they're freedom minded. That's what I tell the kids. Ask a lot of questions. It's not a stupid question. This is how you be curious. This is how you could be curious. Curiosity, and curiosity is for you to answer the things that you want to hear that you may possibly want to apply to your life.
That's a
So
life-changing thought concept though, because normally they don't want to, right? When I tell them, ask, oh, my teacher's going to yell at me, or tell me
mhm,
why are you asking that? Weren't you paying attention? And then it curbs their courage, to
yes,
ask.
yes. One thing that actually as a parent, um, I did this with my first son, and I have to say, and I can speak for a lot of parents. I mean, we don't realize how toxic we are until you really see it in the eyes of your child. Because when you overworked, you have no idea why you're living or why you're working and why you're so frustrated and that kind of stuff like that. And then I made it to a room when I had Kylie, my second child. I kind of like did not so good with my first child, but when I had a second child, and I started doing it again. And then when I saw my 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 older child defending and was defending, and I had to like, I had to step back. What am I doing? Why are they crying? And I remember when we were growing up, stop crying. I'll give you something
Yeah,
to cry about.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, but I started to realize that when I see my child's eyes, and it's just, and then again, I had to go take a ride on my motorcycle, not suicide or anything like that, but just ride, so I can stay razor focused on my thoughts. So, what's really important to me, and I really hope some other parents can apply this, because I catch myself doing it, and I have to remind myself. I have to really technically really write it down, and every day, I mean literally every day, because I'm home more often. Every day I have to look at it every single day, so I don't do it because I catch myself doing
And what is
it.
that?
Because it's just things that you should not say or do to your child, because it
Can you
affects.
share? This is a great way to end. Can you share like a couple of things
Yeah,
that we
sure.
should not do?
So the first one is like um, saying like offensive words about their appearance. Like my son is into anime, but there's always gonna have two. If you have two parents, you can't have two parents telling the child, "Oh, why do you look like that? Why do you dress like that?" You gotta have
Hmm.
one that just let them allow to be who they are. You just have to bite your tongue and just say it. My oldest is actually is an anime. His hair is kind of crazy and wild and stuff like that. And I have relatives. I have my wife saying it and stuff like that. Oh, um, why do you have to look like that? Why your hair? You need to cut your hair. Or what's that? A very offensive word. If you actually criticize about their appearance, and they were just expressing, like I told them, I don't want to go back on my word. Being creative can take it anywhere and everywhere. So I
Yes.
want them to be creative. So I want my son and my daughter. I want my daughter to just. I want them to be who they're comfortable with doing, and it doesn't don't be judged by what other kids think. Just be what you want to be. If you want to do, if you want to have different color socks or something like that, or whatever, you want to wear your hair like that, be it, because that's how you express yourself. You might one day go grow it, you might not,
Hmm.
but never, ever, 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 ever criticize or say anything offensive about the appearance. Never. My child can dress weird, but you know, like Skylar, when he goes out to play, and I don't want to scold him, but he's using his older brother's shorts. Oh my god, that thing looks like a skirt. He said, You want to dress like that? Yeah, it's comfortable. I was just okay. I let him, right? But that's how he feels comfortable. But he gets it. He changes his clothes when he wants to, but let him. But I mean, as long as he doesn't get hurt. Another guy says, I won't offend him.
Yes.
And then I will never, ever, 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 ever wish my oldest son was to be act like he was always scared. He was always scared of this. He was scared of that and scared of this. And he was just, my wife has this thing about the Filipino word takrut. I don't even know what that word was. It was just some scaredy cat. But
Mm.
I will never, ever want to say to my child, why do you act like that? Why do you chew like that? Why do you walk like that?
Mm.
Don't want to say things like that because then they cannot be themselves. They're
Yeah.
gonna be so insecure. You know what I mean? It's because I grew up like that. My dad asked me, "Oh, why you talk like that? Or why do you?" This is, what I talk. What I it's like because I was talking like proper English. It's just that I chose
Oh.
to talk proper English when my dad speaks broken Japanese pidgin, and then he knows that my friends in Waimanalo talk pidgin, and I'm talking just proper English.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna make fun of you. They're gonna think you and Holly Boy. Like I said, he was, and then that hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
I started talking pigeon, and I could turn it on and off, but I was
Mm-hmm.
never. I don't want to feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable doing it all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing wrong with talking pigeon. It's just that that's just not who I am.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm never gonna tell my child. I don't want to ever tell my child that why do you do this and just why do you act like that. I'll never say that. And then the other one, I will never, I'll never ever make them feel like a burden. I mean, I hear this with so many times. I grew up with that.
Mm.
And my mom and my dad just say is that what, I'm working so much and you want that.
Yes.
I can't afford that. You want why am I making made out of money? Why can't you? You're not getting good grades in schools. What, you retarded or so I try out. I work my butt off. And this is how you pay me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'll never want to make my kids feel like a burden.
Yep.
I don't want them to feel like a burden because that'll be so much damaging to them. Because if you're burdened, and kids gonna think, kids that actually a lot of kids will actually, I believe a lot of kids go into suicide is because they feel like they are burdened.
Yeah.
Why am I here then? I didn't ask for to
Yes.
be here.
Exactly. And that's what they say. I didn't, I didn't ask to be born. I wasn't, but
Yeah,
it's such a overwhelming feeling to feel that you're disappointing and you're being a burden. You're causing,
yeah,
extra
and it's just
stress just by your existence.
I understand and I understand that. That's like the mother who works two jobs that says, we want to make a real difference. I know you can't. I know you want to vent and angry, you yell at them and stuff like that, whatever. But just give them a hug, one
Yes.
minute a day. That's all you do, just 1 minute a day, and just hold them. You don't have to say anything. That makes a whole big difference. Because if you just walk in the house and just change your clothes and sit down and watch TV or yell at them, they're gonna think they're a burden.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't want them to feel. I will never let my kids feel that way. And I was doing that when I was when I was a new father with my oldest, and I had to change my ways. And and one I'll never ever 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 I've never done this. Compare them to a sibling or another child.
Mm-hmm.
Why
Mm-hmm.
can't you be like that? And I've noticed that. I heard actually one of my friends and how my oldest, he's just naturally smart. He can pick up
Mm-hmm.
things.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend tells his son, says, "Why can't be smart why can't you be smart like Kainoa?" He said, "Look, he does his job. He got a 4 point. He got over 4.5 GPA." It says, "What is what you got to study hard like him?" But my son is not like that. So he's comparing it, and then of course my friend's son was a little offended. I don't want to
Of
intervene.
course. Well, you don't feel good enough, right? You feel less than.
He was just making a joke, really, technically. What can't you be
Yeah.
like at home? Like
Yeah.
he's just making, but at the expense of his son.
Yeah.
And they're like, I will never compare. Like my daughter has dyslexia, but I will never compare her reading compared to Skylar. He's younger.
Mm-hmm.
He
Mm-hmm.
reads
Mm-hmm.
better.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter don't read as fluent as he does, or comprehend as much as he does. That takes her time. I would never compare to her. When she reads, I actually compliment. I'll more compliment my kids than actually tell them why they're actually why they're doing that or why they
Mhm.
something I don't like. If something that just didn't improve, and I ask them a question, is there something that how does that make you feel?
Mhm.
I want them to feel internally how they feel. If it makes them feel bad, then change it.
Yeah.
Change it. Um, and then another thing is use verbal abuse words. Or never use verbal abuse words like you're being lazy. Hello.
Yes. Oh, that's my trigger. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
he says, why you gotta be so lazy? Why you gotta be so messy? Why you gotta be one thing I would never ever call my kids stupid, but I would my father called me stupid. You know, um, he called me he called me you gay because I did
Your
certain things, but
interest and yeah, your career
yeah,
or
a different.
interest.
And it kind of really prevents if you stop doing that, kids can build up their self-esteem. It's really based on the self-esteem. You say this thing, you're gonna crush their self-esteem. They're gonna try and figure out their whole life trying to figure out that. So it really, really starts with your child. I mean, it's not too late. I never started really correcting myself until I had my. But my
Well, and that's
son
what I'm
had.
realizing. It's never too late. I have a 26-year-old, 20-year-old, and
No,
apologies are so powerful. You just realize I did not know better. I did not, but, and then they are so forgiving. Children are so forgiving. And I think it just makes them feel better that, oh, I wasn't a mess up or
like
I
I figured my
wasn't,
dad
yeah.
because my dad was a different generation of how he raised kids, and to me, I think he was a great dad at his time in his generation
Well, they were
because
taught that though, right? They were taught teach your kids to struggle and to really experience hardship so it'll prepare them
exactly, and he had to be
for,
hard for him because
yeah,
that's how
yeah.
life was with them. And I'll never ever use that. And I noticed that I've done this with my first guy when me and my wife was having a hard time at the beginning. And when my wife says, "Well, fine, leave then," I says, "Fine, I'm gonna leave." And then when my this is when my son was crying and then he crushed me when my son was pulling on my shirt. I wanted to just leave because
Oh,
my wife was having such a hard time. Um, I mean, when we first bought this house, I mean, we was a little bit over our head at first, yeah. But you know, the thing is that, but we started fighting and all these kind of things, and then I started to lose sense of things. But I'll never, or I should never tell your child this is okay. If you do, if you don't, if you don't stop doing that, I'm gonna leave. Don't ever say that to your child because they're gonna have the sensibility of abandonment. They're gonna, I realized through my past experience, my dad always tell me he'll leave, and he did leave. You know, and I had a really trust issues. This is why I had a lot of bad relationships because I always had a trust issue. They were gonna leave
mm-hmm.
anyway. So I would never want to tell my kids because then I don't want them to have the trust issue when they build like you have a good relationship, but you start having your security start talking about, are you gonna leave me? Are you gonna
Yeah,
leave me? You're gonna always have that feeling. I had to get over that.
yeah.
I had to learn how to really be comfortable alone.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm an introvert, I like being alone, but a lot of time I'm not alone all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't want to give my kids. Don't ever give kids like the sense of abandonment. No, don't give that threat that I'm gonna leave. No, if you don't, if it's this, you don't sit put, I'm gonna be gone, and you're not gonna find me. You know, you don't sit. If you don't follow me, I'm gonna leave you, and bye bye.
Oh
Let's
yeah,
go
you
somewhere.
hear that. You hear that in
I
the
hear that.
stores a lot with
I
little
hear that a
kids and
lot.
yeah,
I still
yeah,
hear it
yeah,
today.
yeah, yeah.
Because you're gonna lose. I'm gonna lose you, and I can't find you. Someone's gonna take you. And I had this
Yeah.
one. I had this one. Oh my gosh, I was actually on drugs, and the mom said this to her child who was, I don't know, I guess probably like 12, maybe about that time, that age. And she told the girl, she says, "I want you to stick with me. We're gonna go back to the car, and we're gonna come, and then we're gonna come back, and then whatever." And I didn't mean to eavesdrop. I was just at the same aisles there. And she said, "You know what? If you want to go down there, and you know what, you're gonna get kidnapped, and you're gonna be put into sex trafficking, and you're
Oh
gonna
my
be." And then
gosh.
it's like, wow. She just went straight up and and she was using a scare tactic on a child, like you can be.
Well,
And
at
she's
12, yeah, that puts
yeah,
all kinds of fear.
yeah, she was putting a scare tactic and all kind of fear in that. And I was like, whoa, I heard that. And I said, wow. I wanted to intervene, but it's just again, I can't step in that and stuff like But you know what? None of us are like perfect parents.
Right, right. Well,
Not
when
perfect
we,
parents.
yeah, and all of us have stories to share where our patience was tested
Yeah.
and, we lose it. But maybe it's just being conscious, being aware, being,
Yeah. And and I think the last thing that I will never make empty promises, things I can't keep because I did catch myself doing that. So I mean, like I will never tell my kids, if you do this, I'll get you this.
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
never do that. No matter how small it is, I'll never do that because sometimes I might get caught up with something. I never do it.
yeah.
You know, but I want them to, I will never want to make them feel like empty promises. Then they're gonna have like this. They're gonna have that feeling of betrayal.
Yeah.
I don't want
And
them to
have a
feel
difficult time trusting, right? When someone says,
stressing
"Oh, you know
people.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and I've done that a mistake when I was actually and it wasn't no exactly clear about the rules of the school rules, but so I was actually rewarding these kids, and I told the kids, okay, we're gonna start playing a game, and who stands out? This is a score point. Whoever scored the highest points on here, but it's all fun and games, okay. But whoever the score point will get a $25 gift card,
wow,
okay, for wherever you want to go, or whatever you want. And these kids are working hard, working hard. But so there are actually eight kids. There are eight kids. Who was kind of like a challenge. They were actually doing leadership, and keeping in attack with their class. And this is the ones who just kind of stepped up and wanted to play the game. And then, of course, they told me, no, you cannot give the kids this. You can't give the kids this and that and stuff like that, right? I was like, oh, I can't. Then I don't want the kids to feel like, oh, you know,
empty promise, right?
Mr. Dow said he was going to give a gift card if we actually, we challenge ourselves and take on this challenge. But the school rules and stuff like that. So I did was kind of risky. I learned my lesson, and I was very straightforward with the with the with my supervisors. I'm sorry, I had to do this, but I'm not going to actually tell the kids that. So fairly, I wanted these kids all worked hard. They were doing it. When I was teaching them leadership just skills, and they're applying it. And I saw them; they were just growing. And these kids just like this, they were actually helping kids follow the rules during lunchtime and so on and so. And I was watching. I was so proud of these kids. Some were doing better than others. But the thing is that, again, instead of actually just getting one person at 20, I'm going to surprise them. I was on the last day. And well, it was second to the last day because I couldn't be there last day. I had to catch a flight to Florida. And I actually told us, I said, hey, and I screamed out, leaders, gather up. So this is who's the winner, Mr. Daos? Who's the winner? Who's the winner, Mr. Daos? And it says, all right, stand over there. It says, what did you learn from this? What did you learn from that? They all give me the answers. And I liked all there were some of the answers and how they changed. The answers different from day one. And the answers are different from the last day. And it says that, and how this is how did they make you feel? It was good. It was like I like it, I like it, I like it. And then and then so I took out I told out gift cards, and it says you guys are all winners. So I gave all eight $25. So I just said that, they're like, wait, what? It says we all won because you guys all won because I've been watching you guys. When I was actually keeping score, when I was keeping score on all you kids, on all these criteria that you guys have to follow, but I can see you guys are trying harder. Some of you guys didn't understand that.
Wow. That's
But
going to be a lasting impression
yeah,
for the rest of their life.
and the telling is giving you this gift card. I'm sorry, but it might be my last time being here. I might get fired for this, but I don't. You guys all deserve this. Okay,
Did the school find
and
out?
he did, but
And
I didn't know. And I think they just kind of let it go because I told him that I'm also going to do it. But I
well,
told him
and I'm sure
I'm
it's
not
like
going to do it.
accountability on your part, though. I mean, I'm
It
sure
was.
they have to have compassion. And if you said you're going to do something, I mean,
Yeah, I
wow,
wasn't.
what a
I wasn't just.
powerful ending. I have a
I wasn't
student
sure.
waiting in Zoom, but I will be seeing you soon. And this was really powerful. It exceeded my expectations. I'm hoping every parent can even practice a little bit of what you shared, and it will
I'm
definitely,
still
especially
practicing.
your rules, because I think I'm guilty of it. We're all guilty of it, and we're not here to scold parents, but just to have them aware, right, of what their words can do, and that we do have the power to
Mhm.
either build self-esteem or crush it. But that was
I say the rule is because everyone has their issues and personal issues
yes.
with work and working life and all that kind of stuff, and they're doing as much as they can.
Yep.
Yeah, you tell them that life. But once they accept, like I said, this is just a little rule for myself, and then hopefully some of the people, if you're going to listen to this video,
Mm-hmm.
once you accept that we're in a world of us
Yeah,
and then I, things can change.
I love that. Us versus I.
Is because then it's not, and you want to say, oh, it's not about me no more, it's about my kids. If you do that, then you got nothing left for yourself. You want to
Mm.
be thinking the world of us, your neighbor, your friends, your co-workers, people you don't know, and your kids. Once you accept that, and you already, your life is already complete. There's nothing more you can add.
Yeah, that's a
Just,
good one. That is a good one. Because then you're not comparing. You are actually happy with who you are, and then
and just building
you
that
don't
up.
walk in life that yet you're incomplete or you're not good enough. Yeah.
You can't be someone. That's why, like I said, and I'm gonna say it again. Some of the Instagram, if we're just gonna get the truth, and there's Instagram. So I'm gonna see a lot of people fake lives. And I can see people actually doing so many photographs. Like, and that's not right. Spending 1 hour just to get the right photo.
Oh yeah, the right photo of the dish, right? The right. Oh no, I
Yeah,
forgot to take a photo of what I ate. Or
yeah, yeah. I couldn't be part of that.
thank you so much. I'll
Okay,
see you
I'll see you
soon.
later.
Okay, take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye.